Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space created weekly is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Today, I have such a special guest joining us on the podcast. This is such like a long time coming. I don't even think she knows this, but I've been following this woman for quite some time. She's one of those people that I've known since I've started hybrid racing, and I finally and formally got to meet her just a couple weeks ago at HYROX Phoenix. So Kris, welcome to the podcast. I'm so stoked to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I just found your podcast like a month and a half ago maybe, but I've already listened back to quite a few episodes. I've really enjoyed it. So I'm really lucky to be on the show. Thank you.
Yeah. So to kind of help people understand how this conversation transpired, you were so sweet in coming up to me and just sharing like, hey, I've listened to some episodes. I've heard about like just where you've been over the last couple of months. And I'm so proud of you for like how you've trekked forward and navigating some really tough things. So that definitely meant a lot to me. And I was really excited when you said that you would accept this. And I have to tell you a really funny story. So what's fun is that Kris is also out here in Colorado, but I have not yet been able to really ever meet Kris. I think I've had one event down at Manic Training where you like came in and you did like some judging for a deck event. And this was like 2023, like quite some time ago. And I had like some girls I think that were there. They were like, oh my gosh, like we look at you like we look at Kris. We think that you're so amazing and all the things. And I was like, that is the best compliment in the entire world.
I love that.
Because I see you as like true, like pure joy and sunshine, like just like myself. And I'm like, I navigate to that energy so much.
Well,
so
I see that you have built a very strong community of supporting and encouraging people. And that's definitely something I strive to do. So I love that.
Amazing. Well, I don't know you as much as I'd love to know you. I've watched from afar, as I'm sure many of my listeners have too, but I just want to get to know your history, how you got into this space. I think that's just a great place to start. So let's just have a little story time and hear where you've been over the last couple of years.
I'll try to give the little abridged version, but basically like I didn't do anything athletic growing up. It was just not something that our family was invested in at all. I ran a Tough Mudder for the first time almost 10 years ago now. In 2016, I was, I guess I was 19 at the time. And I was kind of like, okay, this was fine. Didn't really think anything of it. I ran a Spartan Beast at the end of that year. And I ran is a generous term. Like I completed a Spartan Beast. And again, I was kind of like, not really. Now, I guess like kind of background, like I worked outside a lot. I worked on some horse ranches. I was homeschooled growing up. So I spent a lot of time just like outdoors running around. So And I like played volleyball in the backyard with my sisters. Like I had a lot of like, I was just active, but zero athletic anything. So when I say like I went into a Tough Mudder, I did a Spartan Beast. I had a base level of like fitness. It was 0% an athlete. It was the first time I'd ever tried to climb a rope with shoes on because I would climb them barefoot in the backyard. But anyway, so tried that first one. And again, I was kind of like, but I was like, well, I kind of want to do the other distances. That kind of escalated from there because I did a super and again was like, whatever. It's kind of fun. But I didn't have that, like, I didn't know I wanted to be a competitive athlete or anything along those lines. So it was just kind of like, that was fun. It wasn't until the sprint that I did that I met somebody who told me more about the competitive side of the sport. And I'd moved out east for the summer. And that's where end of 2017, I ran a few more, did pretty well and kind of realized like, okay, I'm decently good at this. I joined a gym in 2018 and told them like, I know nothing, but I want to get better at this. And that gym was really foundational for me. And like the owner had gotten it started. It was Grit Fitness in South Texas. He had gotten started through obstacle course racing and really emphasized the benefits of like charting progress through performance goals as opposed to like aesthetics. And so it was a really nicely balanced like strength, running, and a very big recovery component. All like that was the base fitness, but with a heavy OCR component, the obstacle course racing. So I was there for several years. I just kind of started racing some more, learning a lot. 2020, or I guess 2019, I don't know really where, but I by 2018, I had run an ultra, a Spartan ultra, early 2019. I know it was 2017, 2018. Anyways, by 2019, I ran my first 100 miler. And that was kind of a big moment for me of like, wow, I can do that. Like, cause I'd only heard of them, 2 years before I had heard that like 100 milers were a thing. So 2020 ended up being a really big building year for me. I started the beginning of 2020, I did 200 milers. And then soon after that did my first HYROX. And then the entire world shut down and with COVID. But 2020 was a really cool year of just consistently training, running a lot, figuring out the whole running thing, figuring out the strength thing, and just like really kind of tapping into the athletic side of things. And then when things started back up, 2021, I started going more into the Spartan series things and kind of like, so I was kind of coming to the top of obstacle course racing. I did another HYROX at the end of 2021 and was like, I want to do more in here. So I came back in 2022 and Lauren Weeks was pregnant. That's a big disclaimer, but I've won the world championships of HYROX. And then, 2022 is when I also moved to Colorado. And since then it's just kind of been 100 milers, HYROX. My biggest drive, like a lot of people are like, what hurt you? Like what's the drive here? And for me, it is just so much gratitude for what I'm capable of and what I think I could maybe do in the future. And so that's, to me, I mean, it's just been, several years now of kind of at the top end of initially obstacle course racing and then HYROX. I kind of dabble in the ultra world. I do decent in some 100 milers, but I'm not anything fancy, but I just love and it's morphed more from like, let me try this out to now it is the discipline and the benefits that I've seen from regular, consistent movement, just base movement, but also building strength, building running ability. It's completely changed who I am. And I'm really grateful for the growth that I've seen through that. And that is what drives me the most. Like, that's why I wake up every morning, is to see the growth that I can continue to see in myself and in my life. And I have found fitness, but I mean, again, just movement period to be one of the best driving factors for that. So that's kind of a short history of me.
And just knowing like how big of a splash you've made in HYROX, and I would arguably even say like some of these other lines, whether it be ultra or some of the other competitions you've competed in, like you've always been someone to watch. For me, as someone who also had like no athletic background besides like I danced competitively growing up, I did some softball. I was never like a high level athlete to like be really heavy and then lose a bunch of weight and then like try to do this stuff against a bunch of track stars and like collegiate high level people. It's really inspiring for me to hear and to see you at that level, to be like, oh, yes, there are a few of us that can do this and can pull through against those that like have been doing this for several years. So that was something cool that I didn't really know. And I'd be curious to know too, because I this is also the reason why I love athletics. I didn't realize I would until I realized, holy cow, I'm becoming a better human because of this. I would like love to know from you, like over the years, maybe what have been some of your bigger obstacles that you've had to overcome, and like how have you navigated through some of those?
Okay, I have two.
Yes.
I'll start with the first one. Feels kind of like stupid to me. Even like looking back now, I'm like, I don't know, it feels simplistic, but at the same time, like it's very real. But for me, not coming from any kind of an athletic background, learning how to like train and work out and like making that a routine and a part of my lifestyle was a huge learning curve. And I came into it through racing, and I was like, I like racing. I'm competitive. Turns out I'm very competitive. I love to compete. And so I'll dabble in some training. I'll do a run. I'll do a workout here and there, but I'm just about the next run, the next race. And that was especially my early OCR days. I would go out to a race, and I show up to a race and I'm not thinking about my pacing, strategy. I barely even look at the map, but I'm like, let's go. And I was just all in, let's go. And it paid off. Like I do well doing that. And it's, I think especially because I did well in that, because I had I was building a base level, and then I just have all the enthusiasm in the world. And so it kind of worked. But to go from that to actually finding the value and the benefit in the daily process of training and showing up and progressing, that was kind of a really big learning curve for me. And so I like think to myself, like I started racing for the first time in 2017, but I didn't really like become a runner until I would say like 2020 is when I actually started like running consistently and thinking about workouts and understanding pacing and like all those kinds of things. So that was a really big learning curve for me of like learning. And so many people that have grown up in this, they automatically know pacing. They know, and then I think that you also have so much of that mental like noise of having to do better than them and having to beat them and so while it was like a learning curve to figure out the whole working out thing, at the same time, I think it gave me a really cool experience of just showing up without all of the mental background noise of I should be here, I should be there, or any of that. I was just like, let's see what we got. So that was a really big learning curve. And then I would say more recently, it was right about 2 years ago, I had like my first real injury ever. I tore my meniscus. And that has been a whole nother process of going from my body will just do kind of whatever I ask. Like it's really resilient, I think, because of the base in fitness that I built, to now having to really like work with it and work with my body on like, what are we able to do today? How are we feeling today? Do we need to pull back? Do I need to sleep more, eat more? Like kind of all the other more nuanced things, has been a lot bigger focus the past 2 years. And I feel like that's definitely been like the overarching thought now is like, it's not so much like I can do anything, what's next, but more of like, it's kind of brought me down a little bit of like, I want to keep moving for the next 70 years. And so what do I need to be doing today to obviously still enjoy myself today and not just lay on a couch, which obviously would not help me move in 70 years, but also with the whole long term of like, it's not just about today and it's not just about this race. It's about, health. It's health, and health means long-term wellness. So
I love that. I especially love your first comment of when you do have so much experience in this space, when it's going to hurt, like, all the answers, right? But it's almost to the point where like the pressure is unreal. And I've had to start dealing with that becoming one of the bigger athletes to watch in DECA now. It's like, okay, like how do I pace certain things, or how do I navigate this new circumstance with these new athletes coming in and out of this sport? It's a lot. And so I'd be curious to know from you as someone who's, hey, I've come from this space of I'm just here because I'm grateful to move. I love to move. Like this is joyous to me, to winning a HYROX World Championship, to now like trying to fight back into the Elite 15 and do all the things. Like, how has your mindset changed? Like, do you find that it's maybe sometimes a struggle to tap into that joy, into that like happy-go-lucky, let's just go do this? Or do you feel really strongly towards that still?
A little of both. I've definitely had some races because I've mostly been in HYROX now since my torn meniscus. And I will say I think, kind of coming back from that, by the time I was ready to kind of start getting competitive about a year in is when the doubles popped up. And starting to run doubles competitively, I was like, this is really fun. Like you run hard, you get breaks. This is kind of great. Still working on my solo. I got into world champs on solo, but I was kind of like scared. I was kind of scared of where you have to go in that. And I was kind of an interesting season of like, I'm actually doing well. I PR'd, like I got a new fastest time and I was racing well, but it was almost like the more it was like the more I thought about how it would feel, how it goes, the worse it got. Yeah. And I think with ongoing stuff with my knees and with meniscus, it's kind of honestly brought me back to that full circle of like just gratitude to be able to move, to be able to show up, to be able to get through a race. And I would say, honestly, like focusing more on that, gratitude for good runs throughout the week. My knee hasn't bothered me in several months now. Like all these little steps has really brought gratitude back to front of mind. And I have found now, I've had some of my most enjoyable solo races, not even like the best times, which times are a little iffy. So it's whatever. But, I've had some really strong races. And the thing that I've noticed more recently is that I feel a level of flow that I've never felt in HYROX before.
Heck yes.
Where I used to like go out, I'm dying. Second station, third station. I'm like, there's still 5 stations left. Like I was literally just kind of like counting down the stations. And I've gotten into now where I feel like I have a really good sense of, I mean, A, the gratitude, but also B, just kind of a sense of like how my body feels. And having done the doubles, you get a different racing stimulus. And so now where I feel like I do the ski, even I've kind of played around more with like starting out slower, and you start a little bit back of the pack, but then you just run your own race and run yourself back into the race. And by the time I get to, I'll finish burpees, and row is one of my least favorite stations, but I finish row and then it's like, I'm farmers carry lunges and I'm wobbles and done. Like, and it just kind of flies by. And so it's been actually really fun to kind of see a little bit of that fluctuating of like, and honestly, while injury has not been fun and has been very tough to deal with at different times, at the same time, I am very grateful for what it has taught me through that of like, no, we're actually just lucky to be able to move. Other people may have expectations for you. That's okay. Your body's your body. It's going to do what it's going to do. And like, to just be gracious and just be kind to yourself. Number one, doesn't really care what other people think. It really feels nice when people are proud of you, but it feels even better when you are like kind and gracious to yourself. And I think that's like the biggest thing is, it feels real nice when other people are all proud of you. Kind of sucks when you don't have a good race, but at the same time, it's like, I'm really proud of my body for showing up every single day and putting it through the stuff that I put it through. So
yeah, I tell people all the time, you have to get sucker punched a little bit, maybe hit a rock bottom before you're like, wow, now I realize just how lucky I am to be able to do what I do from day to day. So when people are going through lows, I'm like, this is going to be literally the best moment of your life. Like, just feel it, live in it, because what you're going to learn from this is going to be massive. And it sounds like you've done that, and you've been able to find that full circle, which I've done that as well.
Yeah. And it's hard to see in the moment. And everybody can tell you like, oh, you'll be back stronger. And I have struggled with like, I've struggled a lot more recently with the whole idea of like, there isn't like a, life is good. You have a bad time. Will you come back? Like, sort of a little tangent, but something I've been reading this book more about how, homeostasis is like the state of like, everything is at peace. Everything is good. And homeostasis is generally described as like, there's order, there's disorder, and then we come back to order. And that's actually like while that is how your internal body system works, you're always trying to find that. At the same time, a different term that like describes it better is allostasis, which is actually where there's order, there's disorder, and then things are reordered. And so once that disorder has happened, you can't go back to that previous order, but you can move forward into the next version of reorder. And I feel like that's been one of the biggest things through going through trouble, difficulty, nuance, everything's changing, is recognizing like this is a lot of disorder. I will never go back to the old version of order, but I do hope to move forward and find a new version of reorder, of some semblance of order. It will look different, but it will order itself in some way again. I feel like that's one of the biggest things. It's like, yeah, it sucks. You will never go back to who you were, and that's okay. There is a new version of reordering that you have now learned so much through, and you will actually like learn and go through that. And it's hard to see in that disordered time, but there is a reordering. So that's a big one.
Love that. What book is this?
It's called Master of Change, and I'm still only like halfway through it, but I'm really appreciating some things in it. So yeah.
I'm going to have to look at that one. And everyone that asked me about book recommendations, that's what I'll probably be reading in the future.
It's a good one. And especially as I'm looking at a lot of like personal change in my life next year, I think I came into it more of like athletic, like it's more of a mindset kind of thing. But as I'm reading, I'm like, this is kind of the perfect timing for me to be reading this, because I'm like, my life will personally change a whole lot, and to recognize that everything changes. And the only thing that doesn't change is that everything changes, and to like accept that and embrace it. When it's the resistance to change is what causes the issues. When you embrace and accept that change happens, your life flows a whole lot more smoothly. So
it's so incredible. And like I posted about this, I think a couple weeks ago. I have a client who is a mom, and she is super high up in her career. She's got all the things going on. And she's like, I remember before baby, I was doing all the things. I was working out consistently. Now it's just like, I'm excited if I even just get to like go on a walk. And she's guilt tripping herself into the fact that she's not performing in the way that she once did. And I asked her about like, well, what's your measure of success for this current season of life? And she's like, I don't even know what that means. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's start there because you're
Let's start
comparing
there.
yourself off of a previous season. And so I would actually be curious to know, especially looking at Kris going into 2026 versus maybe where she's been, is what is your measure of success for this season of life? Like, have you thought about that and really what that looks like?
Yeah. Measure of success, I guess for me is, I mean, gratitude, I feel like is the word that I always use, but I would say happiness is more the term that I
Mhm.
would use now. And I guess not even happiness, but like contentedness of
Wow.
recognizing, like, I feel like I've really come to a place of, like, I'm kind of on the verge again of Elite 15 doubles and Elite 15 solo. This is big stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I'm about to like move. I'm moving up. I'm getting married and moving to Canada in August. So it's like
That's so cool.
big life upheaval and big athletic things coming. And it's hard to, it's hard to think like I've worked so hard to get here. And it's almost, and I guess the measure of success is like, what if I don't make it to Worlds, do well at Worlds, all those kinds of things. And for me, I have found, I guess, that just finding being content and happy with where, like, with my day to day, has been huge and has made the last couple months really of just focusing on the here and now, making every day count, has been really helpful to me in, like, there's big changes coming. If you spend too much time thinking about that, there's a lot of pressure of getting into these races. And if you spend too much time thinking about that, you start to get stressed. And I tend to just kind of like get paralyzed. Like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so to focus more on like, I have these things coming up. I know they're coming up, but what really, I would say, like, success for me is feeling like happy and content on a day-to-day basis. And
Yeah.
while paying attention to things in the future and like making sure everything's lined out, I really want to wake up every day excited for what I have and
Yeah.
finish the day feeling like I did all that I could. And
Yeah.
that's my measure of success day to day.
I think that that's wonderful because I think contentment gets a bad rap. People are like, oh, well, if you're content with where things are at, then you're not actually progressing or moving the needle. And while I understand that to a standpoint, I think what you're saying puts a beautiful spin on it of what if we spend less time always thinking about the future and always trying to get more and more and more, and we just live right here in the present moment, and we're really excited about that. Knowing that if we continue to trust the process and we put in the work, that some way, shape, or form, the universe is going to bring us into the right spaces. Like that to me is what I felt listening to that.
Exactly that. And I feel like also a thing that I've always had in mind is this whole idea. I came up with it. I've never heard it before, but I kind of came up with myself. But be
Mhm.
serious about life, but don't take life too seriously. And so
Yeah.
this level of like, I'm serious about life. I'm serious about my goals. I'm really serious about where my future is taking me. Like, there's no not serious and not intense part of me at all. But at the same time, you don't actually control anything except for your attitude. And I want to have an attitude of gratefulness, happiness, contentedness. I am happy to be right where I am. That doesn't mean I don't have big goals and I'm not going big places. But today I'm right where I should be. And I love
Yeah.
that. So
And that's simply put. I love that. Amazing. So, I do actually have one question for you just in regards to kind of going back towards Worlds last year. I know that I was really excited when you snatched one of those last spots. I was like, this is it. Like, she'll get a chance to actually go back and be with these people again. And I wasn't exactly 100% sure what happened. I think you got hurt or something, just wasn't feeling right, if I'm correct. And
yeah,
I'm just curious to know of like, how you've come back from that particular moment and whether it's mental, physical, emotional, all the things.
yeah,
Because that's a big stage to be on. And then just to be like, it didn't pan out the way that I wanted to, but this is how I'm moving forward. Like I'd love to hear the behind the scenes of that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm trying to even think back to then. Um, I got the spot. I ran a good solo in Barcelona. Honestly, this is because it was really hard. I'll just tell you, like, on the race day, I lined up and I was like, feel fine. Started the race, didn't feel fine. Like, my legs just felt heavy. I couldn't run. There was no, like, I wasn't like injured. I wasn't
Yeah.
damaged. There was no, like, I can't continue. But I want to say on sled push or sled pull, I just had this thought, like, I like wished I was hurt. I was like, I wish I was hurt right now. And I was like, that's not a great perspective here. Like, what's going on here? And so by the time I got to, and then I've never really quit a race before that, but I think I quit right before rowing, and the sleds just hurt really bad. And the running, I felt like I couldn't run. I felt like I didn't have legs under me. Like it just felt awful. And so I kind of talked to myself and was like, this is the Elite 15. This is the top 15 in the world. I felt very bad for taking a spot that I felt like I kind of didn't deserve. Like I earned my win, but I was like, there's probably a lot of other people that would have loved to race this. But at the same time, I was like, this is not, if this were a normal race, I would have run and finished, no big deal. But there's definitely, honestly, it was like the pressure, the pressure, or just to me, it was like the optics of like, I don't want to be, because I finished burpees. Yeah. I finished burpees. And when I was finishing burpees, the girls were coming into row. And I kind of had this thought. I was like, I'm going to come into wall balls after everybody else has already finished. And that's not the point of this race. This race is not about finishing. This race is about competing with the top in the world. And I am not competing. And so I was just like, I got no reason to be here. That was it. So I pulled out. Obviously, it was like a big thing. And I was just like, it felt kind of dumb to me. But at the same time, I was like, I came here to race. I'm unable to race. So that's it. And I didn't love it, but at the same time, it didn't really affect me a whole lot because it's not like I put a whole lot of pressure on myself. I think a big contributor was how late Worlds is into June. It's summer here in Colorado. The weekend before, I had done like a big 20-mile run up some peaks. Like they're in summer.
You were living.
And there's even a version of like old Kris, I would have been just fine. And new Kris, body can't handle that. And so that's kind of that was like, in kind of trying to analyze like, okay, what happened here? That's kind of was my conclusion. Is like, I started spending a lot less time in the gym and a lot more time just out on trails and out on the mountains. And like, that happens. It definitely coming back from that. I think because I didn't like beat myself up over it. It wasn't like you're a failure, you're, whatever. I was just like, I just didn't have a day, and that happens. It hadn't really ever happened to me before. It's like, well, it's happened. And I was pretty apprehensive to run a solo again. But again, that was this fall is when I started. Zero pressure. I was like, last one, like I haven't run since Worlds when I dropped out. So let's see how this goes. And I ran a 105 in Dallas as my first one back, and like felt good, felt strong. So I was like, here we go. Like, yeah, it really didn't affect me a whole lot, but I think a lot of that is because in some ways I was like, did I just kind of ignore it? Did I not try to think about it? But I feel like I did kind of like logically look through like, why did I end up here? And then again, logically, like, is there any reason I should be mad at myself for this? And like, no, not really. Like, yeah, that's it. I don't have a whole lot of feelings around it other than just didn't have a great day. So,
yeah. And it's all comes down to perspective. Either your world can crash because of it, or you could say it just wasn't my day. And this is logically the best choice for me. And I think that's amazing in itself. Like there's no like long-winded answer. It's just, I didn't have it and this was the best choice. And to be able to say, okay, like now I can go and move on with my life and do other things that bring me that joy. And then I will get back to this when I'm ready. How cool is that?
Yeah. It was a bit of I feel like I almost tried to, I feel like it's easy to try to assign a whole lot of like
reasons
value and reasons to that moment. And I just couldn't really find any. And I kind of felt bad for that. But then I was like, maybe this is for the best. Like, it's just a thing. It's like all of life. So, yeah.
So is the goal then for 2026 to make it back to that space again? Or what's kind of on your radar over the next couple of months?
I want to compete at the highest level. Yeah. I'm not in this to just kind of hang out. I want to compete at the highest level. I also do enjoy hanging out, but I'm in for DC. Alondra and I, Katie is dealing with some health stuff, so she's having to like take a step back from racing. But Alondra and I got a time in Phoenix. We're going to race DC. I'm going to run solos there. Should get the roll down. I see no reason not to. We'll see what we can do. Doubles. I really want to be competitive in doubles. Solo, I feel like because I tried to put a lot of work into doubles at the beginning of the season, kind of neglected and honestly, I kind of had mixed feelings on solo, period. But the more I've run solos, the more I'm really in for it. And I just I haven't seen my full potential there yet. So I'm going to keep working at that. I like running with my friends. I just have a blast. So running a couple more doubles, mixed doubles. I'm getting my baby sister to run with me. So yeah, I'm just having a blast.
Yeah. And you have some life stuff. It sounds like we're moving to Canada.
Big life stuff. Yeah. I have, I really love HYROX. I love spending time training. I love the training that goes into it. And it's a really great use of my winter time here in Colorado when it's normally pretty cold. But I love the outdoors in the summer. And so this summer is my last summer in Colorado. I have some big summits left, some traverses, a couple backpacking trips. August, I'm going to be riding horseback across Mongolia for the first 2 weeks of August.
That's cool.
It's called the Mongol Derby, and it is a race across Mongolia. 1,000 kilometers, 620-ish miles. And it's kind of like Pony Express style, where you ride a horse for 40 miles, hop on a new horse. And they're like the Mongol horses. So they're kind of like the Greenbroke. They're not.
Get out of town. That's so cool.
So that's my big summer of ultra thing with that. I'm going to race across Mongolia and then pack everything up and move to Canada, and we'll see where life takes me there.
I know. That's so cool. It's so cool to see you thriving and to see you just living life like that. That's ultimately what I want, is to find that balance still of yes, I can get excited and competitive over here, but I have a life outside of this. And I think that's so important. I don't know if you've actually have any parting words to share on that, of how you've been able to find the balance, because it's tough.
I mean, for me, I'm really grateful. I moved to Colorado and started a job as a nanny, and children is my other passion. The other thing I love and care about. And to me, that has been the greatest balance of I spend a couple hours every morning working out, working hard, working towards big goals. And I spend the rest of the day talking to a 2-year-old about how up high in the sky an airplane is, and just the most mundane everyday stuff. We go ride our scooter around the neighborhood, and it's just, to me, it's been the perfect balance for me over these past 4 years of just the perfect grounding to what is reality? What is life? And yes, I have these big goals. Yes, there's all these things I want to achieve as a person, but to see small children grow and learn, and to see them explore the world, that to me just keeps me very well grounded. That, horseback riding, jigsaw puzzles. You always have to have a few things.
Yes.
And I've really appreciated having just a few activities. I don't like to have a whole lot going on. I like to get my workouts in, work, and then have a few activities that I can kind of dip in and out of to kind of keep life a little more balanced. So I think that's my parting words of advice is get some hobbies. Working out is not a hobby. Working out is working out is, I don't know what it is, kind of is a hobby, but it's health, it's wellness. And for full body, full being health and wellness, your brain also has to have some stuff, and it can't just be working out. So do something fun, find some hobbies.
Exactly. I love that. It's one of my hobbies, is getting to talk to really cool people. So
love it. I love it.
Well,
everybody needs something like that.
Exactly. Thank you so much, though, for coming on and joining us. What an amazing conversation today. And I'm so excited to see you in DC, to watch you kick some butt. I'll be cheering on the sidelines for you.
What are you racing in DC?
I am going to be doing 2 doubles races. They're my first doubles I've ever done.
Oh.
I'm slightly terrified.
Right, because you're new into HYROX. I forget about this.
Yes, I've been all DECA. And so I came in and did my very first solo at Phoenix. And then I did a teams race. Well, I did 2 teams races. So this will be my first whack at a doubles. And I'm running with people that are arguably way faster than me. So I'm okay, I'm just going to be ready to die over the next hour.
Good. You're going to have a blast. HYROX doubles is so much fun. I'm really excited.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've seen. We'll see how I feel after.
I'll talk to you a little while after. Not immediately after.
Yes. Give it a second to process. Well, I'll be excited to see you there. Thank you so much.
You too. Yeah. Thank you.